I'm Ken Tucker. Welcome to The Great Unknown, a show that highlights world-class musicians who are known only in their area. My co-host Lori Ann, my producer Dwayne, and I highlight these performers with interviews interspersed with live and recorded performances. So join us as we venture into the great unknown. Hello everybody, and welcome to the first installment of The Great Unknown.
Ooh, it's in there.
This is a music show dedicated to world-class musical talent that's known primarily on a local level. I've got my lovely co-host, Lori Ann Mercutio Hyde. My name is Ken Tucker, and our first guest, guest number one, is Mr. Mike Reid. He is a saxophone player. He also plays keyboards, and he can sing like you would not believe. So right now we're going to go ahead and talk to Mr. Mike here about his musical background and his different experiences and who he's played on stage with. And we're going to go ahead and introduce Mr. Mike Reid. How you doing, Mikey?
Great. How about yourself?
Well, better now that you're here. I've always enjoyed playing music with you. I always have found your saxophone playing to be just absolutely out of this world. You're one of the best saxophone players I've heard anywhere. And I've always wanted to find a way to get you heard by a bigger audience, and so hopefully this will do that.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Well, Mike, let's back it up a little bit. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. Born and raised and schooled.
Yeah. And you're a veteran too, aren't you?
Yes, I am. The Army.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
And as far as your musical background, and when did you start playing instruments?
I started around the age of 12. We had a piano in our living room, and I used to go and bang on it. And I could pick out little tunes, and my mother heard me and said, if you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to make you take lessons. So everything started from there. And from there, I joined the high school band. I was a clarinetist at the time. And somebody left a saxophone laying around the band room one day. I went and picked it up and, started playing around with it. And the guy walked by and heard me and asked me how long I've been playing. I told him, about 10 minutes. He gave me a job on the spot. So from there, I started playing lounges and bars and so forth. And it just took on a life of its own from there.
Natural.
I always loved music, so I just naturally took to it. I was never an athlete or anything. I could not run anybody, couldn't throw anything but pitch. So when I found music, it was great.
Well, I know you've had quite a illustrious musical history. Who are some of the people from Chicago you played on stage with?
Let's see. I started really as a younger guy, like about 14. I was playing in bars and whatnot. So I was actually, my manager was a guy named, they called him Big Tom, and he would throw a bunch of younger guys with talent together and create little groups. And I played with this band called The Desires. It was like, they were like a takeoff of the Temptations, 5 singers and a 4 or 5 piece band. And we'd go everywhere doing our little thing, different bars here and there. But people heard me and they would say, well, can we get him to play with our band? And my manager would say, sure, just pay me so much and you can have it. And that's what he'd do. He'd sell me out to, like a $2 whore everywhere he could. And I'd get maybe $5 a night and keep the rest. But I was just happy to be out there.
Yeah, well, I know that I know whenever you play, people listen. They stop and listen because you are just really phenomenal at what you do. And it's very little wonder that people just love listening to you. After I heard you the first time, I knew that I want to do some music with you.
Well, thanks.
And I've had you on a few of my projects. I actually enjoyed having you on one of my recordings. And I'll tell you something funny that he did. I did a song on one of my last albums, and it was kind of a, I wouldn't say country so much as a folk song. And I wanted to have a choir behind me. So I got Mike down there, and he sang 6 of the 7 harmony parts. And it was outrageous. It sounds like a whole choir. And the other harmony part was Karen Harris, and she did the high part. And Karen did a great job on it. Karen's got a beautiful voice. The high harmony, she hit that, nailed it. But you had the 6 lower parts. And it was just one of those things where it filled everything up. And it was beautiful.
Well, thanks. It's easy to sing along with myself because I know what I'm going to do.
But you want to do some playing for us while we're talking about you playing?
Well, I can.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, let's. You want to do some slow blues or some upbeat blues, or what key you want to do then?
Do it in. Oh, I'm not partial. Pick any C, D,
D?
F, whatever.
Want D?
Yeah, D will do.
Want fast or slow?
Okay.
Very nice, Mike. Awesome. Welcome back. We're here at Couch Studios in Terre Haute, Indiana, on 1700 North 3rd Street in Terre Haute, Indiana. They're graciously letting us use their facility for this rainy day in this interview show. And I think Lori was going to ask you a few questions or talk to you a little bit and see what she feels like asking you.
You know, I have to say, when I first met Mike, someone introduced me to him at the liquor store. And he'd heard about me, but I'd never heard about him. And I was just very honored that he asked to do some things with me. So we finally got together one day at my house, and I have a 1936 Monarch upright, 400-pound piano. And he brought his sax with him, and he got on that piano and made it sing like I had never heard it sing. And I was just, I have goosebumps just talking about it, because he was so perfect in everything he was doing. And this is an old piano, and he made this piano come alive like I never heard it come alive. And then he pulled out his saxophone, and there was some people out front of the house listening, and he really grabbed my attention. And we've been trying to do things together, but unfortunately I have my little situation with my guitar being in the pawn shop, and I had to have that done because I needed some money for a bill. But unlike with that, this man is just phenomenal. And I have to ask you, how young did you say you were again when you started playing?
Oh, about 11, maybe 12.
Really? Is there anyone else in your family that plays?
Actually, I have one brother and one sister, and we all started playing about the same time. My brother is a guitarist to this day, and my sister used to play the French horn. Now she just directs a choir.
Wow. Is your forte blues?
Preferably, preferably, I do a lot of blues, but I also like some rock. I love ballads.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't. If it's music, I like to play it.
Sure, sure.
So I think I look at everything as a challenge. If I haven't done it before, it's my chance to try something new.
You play at a shopping center now and then, and people just, droves come to listen to you play. Is that right?
Yeah, it's. I got into the habit of that when I came to Terre Haute. I played my horn in the volume. The neighbors were complaining. After I got evicted a couple of times, I figured I better do it in the open air. So I found shopping malls and whatnot and sit in the middle and just practice. And I found that if I leave my case open, I make tips at the same time. So it's,
It works.
It works.
And you got exposure?
And I get a little exposure. People see me and they get to the point where, if I show up, they know who I am. I got a little following. So
yeah,
that's great.
That's good. During that time, did you get propositions to play in clubs or at parties, or somewhat? Just curious.
Oh yes, I had a lady once. She was giving a birthday party for a 3-year-old, and she said, "Well, if you come, we're having it in the backyard. I can come there and play." And they gave me gratuities and free food and a couple of shots on the way out. So it was worthwhile for a 3-year-old. They didn't really know what I was doing. They didn't care, but everybody else had fun.
Sure, that's good. How many people were there approximately?
Oh, maybe 20.
There you
Maybe
go.
20 people.
Yeah. That's
They had a
awesome.
yard full of people.
Where'd you play at in Chicago?
Any little bar that was hiring a band or wanted live music, I would show up.
Did you ever go to the Checkers?
I played there a couple of times.
There, that's what I wanted to hear. That's a hot place.
Actually, I would go places I wasn't hired to play, and I'd hear a band, and I'd walk in and go to the back of the club and pull out my horn and play along with them, and usually they invite me up on the stage.
Yes.
If they didn't throw me out.
You're right.
So one of the two, so it worked out.
Oh, neat.
I got kind of a lot of experience like that, playing with different bands.
You kind of still do that, don't you?
Yeah, I still go in and crash a set if I can. If I happen to be there and they start, I try to get invited to the stage legitimately. But if I
I've
can't
never
see
heard.
that-
I've never heard anyone complain yet.
No, there's a
And
demand.
I've never heard anyone say stop.
You created
And I've seen you do it several times, and 99.9% of the time is, come on up here, Mike, come on!
Yes.
And yeah, you add to the sound tremendously. Did you, if I'm not mistaken, did you play on stage with Bobby Rush?
Yeah, a couple of times in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the top dogs over there. Well, Bobby Rush is, yeah.
Oh yeah. I was really young when I ran into him. I think I was like 16 or something like that. And the guy I was playing for, my manager at that time, the guy who was hiring me out, he was affiliated with him. So he said he had shows and he did horn players. He'd send me right along
Yeah.
and take half of my pay, but I was glad to get for the exposure.
Right.
Well, that's what managers do, dude. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to make $80 Hyde. You get 10.
That's all it starts.
Excuse me. But yeah, I tell you what, Mike, we're going to do another little live bit here before we finish out talking to you. And so let's try something a little bit slower, a
Okay.
little bit more brooding. Should I play in a minor key? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter really, but I like things in minor keys.
E minor.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Wow.
I really hope this translates to the audio as well as it sounds in here. I mean, to hear it live and hear that ambience and that fullness and the richness of that saxophone and the way you play it in person is outrageous.
Sure is.
And so I hope that it translates to audio as good as it does in here. I really do. Because it's mind-blowing. And I really enjoy every time I get on stage with you. We have a blast, man. Me and you have a blast on stage. And so if ever I get the chance to get you up here again and play on stage with you, we're going to do it, man. We're going to tear it up.
Cool.
Yeah. But is there any other named people you've performed with besides Bobby Rush that people would recognize, like some of the soul bands from Chicago in the '70s? You know, like.
Actually, not really, because at that time, like I said, I was a really young musician. So, and I was more in the crashing in the stage. They would hire me, and I'd stay in the background. If I show out too much, they'd throw things at me. So, I was hiding behind somebody. So, upstaging anybody was a no-no.
Yeah.
So, but as long as I stayed in the background, it was great. And usually it made it easy for me because a lot of bands use a horn section. They would hire me because I was one guy, I was much cheaper, and I could fill in. I would do highlights, stuff like
They
that.
kind of doing the fields and stuff, you know.
Kind of doing fields and stuff, little things that,
Yeah.
you know, in place of a whole horn section and harmony, I had to figure out a way to harmonize with what was going on
Yeah.
and fit in between the leads or whatever it was. So that was a challenge in itself, but it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Where to play and where not to play.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. I mean, I'm honored that you allowed us to talk to you, and I'm honored that you shared your talent with us, at least some of it, because, you know, I'm going to bring you back with keyboards next time,
You know, great.
and that way we'll have both, you know. And I'm going to expect you to sing a song too, because you can sing, man. You are a killer singer, and so
That's
next
my
time around,
opinion.
you're going to be singing and playing keys next time.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it was a pleasure having you, man. It's awesome to have you. I've got a blast talking to you. I always like hanging out with you. So, you're a friend of the show. We sure loved having you. Don't be a stranger.
Hey, you can count on it. You can count on it. I'll shake on that one.
Yeah, you betcha. And just let's keep in touch, man. And as far as Lori Ann and myself, we want to thank you for watching the Great Unknown. Feel free to come and watch us again next week. We're going to have a young singer by the name of Daniel Hoffman. Be there.